Hi, this is Vinod Kumar. Today discussion topic is WCF fundamentals. Before going to a detailed description, let's see today's agenda. First of all, we need to know what is WCF, why we need WCF, WCF communication model, WCF architecture, how to create WCF service, and question and answer. Let's see what is WCF. The full form of WCF is Windows Communication Foundation. WCF are introduced in .NET Framework 3.0. Before WCF, we have a web service in .NET. They are introduced in 2.0. The advanced version of web service is WCF, means to overcome some disadvantages in WCF, they resolved in disadvantages in web services, they resolved in WCF. Okay. First of all, we need to think why we need WCF. Already we have web services in .NET 2.0. Then why they introduced WCF services in 3.0? Actually, in 2.0, web services will support only HTTP protocols, and it will support only IaaS hosting, and there is no any default security in web services. To overcome those disadvantages, they introduced new concept in Framework 3.0 WCF. Along with that, they introduced in WPF and WF. There are different technologies, but service point of view, we are using WCF. Before then, we need to think why we need services. Actually, services will do some particular job. Then why we have to use? Already we have a .NET. We can use the .NET application itself. No, then why we need services? Okay, actually, services are providing some kind of job or some kind of task, and these services we can pass, or these kind of services we can provide to multiple technologies in the sense, for example, we go for Java technology, if you go for PHP, if you go AngularJS, or if you go Python, Ruby, or Linux. Okay, why we need that one? Because nowadays what will happen, the single application they're not developing them by using only single technology. Suppose the huge application they're developing only .NET, not like that. Maybe nowadays what will happen in corporate level, most of the people what will do, they are always using modular techniques. So different modules they can develop in different technologies. How these technologies can interact with each other by using WCF services. WCF are platform independent. The WCF can interact with Java, or it can interact with Windows, or it can interact with PHP or AngularJS or Linux, whatever technology we are using, because WCF are data providers. It only provides the data to the consumer. Okay, after data, how is representing in multiple technology depends on the requirement. Okay, WCF are data providers, and WCF always be going to create and we can host in one place. Maybe they are for hosting technique, we have multiple techniques in the hosting, but most of the time we are using IaaS hosting. Okay, once we host, then we can consume the service anywhere in the world. Okay, also WCF is not only single technology, the combination of .NET technology become WCF. For example, here web services interoperability is achieved by web service. We know web service extension is .smx. After .NET remoting, we are using binary .NET and .NET communication. Enterprise services, we are using distributed transaction, and support for WA specification, that is WAC, and queuing messages, system messaging, RESTful communication, system.NET. The combination of all this technology become WCF. See, if you see in the diagram, WCF will support all. It will support interoperability, .NET communication, distributed transaction, WA specification, queuing messaging, and RESTful services. The combination of all the technology is WCF here. Normally WCF we create one service or we create one some task, it'll do some job, and then we going to host in IS level. Then how many clients they requesting the services, it always provide the data to those services. We can say here client 1, client 2, and also same time we are providing some endpoint to client. Then what is endpoint? Endpoint is nothing but combination of ABC. Okay, ABC, A nothing but address, B nothing but data binding, C nothing but contact. Address means where exactly my service is located. How data is transferring from one place to normally by default all WCF services, not only WCF, in web services also it is supporting XML, means XML, because XML is very wonderful concept they introduced in IT industry to transfer the data from one place to other place, or to transfer the one place to other place, or transfer the data to multiple technology, because XML language can understand by any technology. XMLs are platform independent. These techniques are using to transfer the data from one place to other place through services. And what is that? What nothing but contract. What contract we have between the applications. Because of this WCF services, not only WCF, we can say web service also, we given the one more architecture called SOA architecture. We SOA nothing but service oriented architecture. It will give the room for SO of any application we are using WCF or web services, we can say the SOA architecture. In SOA architecture, we have address, binding, contract, and endpoint. SOA architecture, we have a lot of points in that. That is also a very big topic. We'll discuss later. But here we are discussing only endpoints. Endpoint nothing but here we have address, binding, and contract. A, B, C. These are very important to consume F services through online. Address, where exactly binding, and also here we have a lot of different kind of bindings. Okay, we have HTTP binding, HTTPS binding, TCP binding, MSFQ binding. Like that, we have a lot of binding, but based on the scenario, we going to use some techniques. And contact. What exactly we have contact between client and consumer, client and host, or consumer or subscriber. That is will define the contract. Okay, next we see. If you see an example, see here, I have address. Okay, one more thing we need to mention, WCF is always extension with .svc. See, this is in the form of SVC format, that is address, and here we are using binding. Here right now the default binding is we are using basic HTTP binding, and contact, here for contact we are using interfaces. See, these three things are very important to share or to transfer the data to client places. That is called, if you see here, host process, we are hosting WCF in IIS server. And also we have multiple hosting technique in WCF. Here we have IIS hosting, and we have self-hosting and WAS hosting. Okay, then let's see the architecture. What is WCF architecture? So I told you WCF is a combination of multiple technologies. Here mainly if you see the application is the first layer. After that we have a contracts. After that we have service runtime. After that we have messaging and activation hosting. If you see the contract, here we have service contract, data contract, message contract, and poly and binding. We'll give the detailed description about contract, what is that, why we have to use. After that we have the service runtime. Here we have throttling, error behavior, metadata, concurrency, parameter filtering, dispatch, transaction, message inspection. These are the runtime. How the see, one more thing I want to mention, WCF is 90% is configurable. They are using simple C# language. It's very easy to do, but the most of the things we are configured at config level only. Okay, based on the scenario, based on the transaction, based on the instant, we always configure We always need to configure things in WCF in web config file. After that, we have messaging. If you see messaging, what kind of messaging we are transferring, like we have TCP, transaction flow channels, named pipe, MSMQ, HTTP, encoders, WS reliable messaging, WS security channels. A lot of things are available in the message. And also WCF will provide default security, means when it will transfer the data, it always encrypt and decrypt. Okay, next we have hosting, activation hosting. We have window activation services, exe files, window services, and complex. We have multiple techniques to host the WCF service. Then let's see how to create WCF service. Now just opening Visual Studio. Already I created service. Okay, if you see here, this is default pages available in the WCF. How to create? If you go for file, okay, new, you can go project or website. For demo purpose, I'm using website. Here WCF. I told you WCF the introduced in .NET Framework 3.0. If you see here, we have 3.0. Suppose I'm using 2.0. In 2.0, WCF is not available. Only web services are available. Okay. Now with 3.0, see web services are available. Okay, we just click on that and provide the path. Here we are location using file system. We have a lot of techniques. We can use file system or HTTP or FTP, but by default we are using file system because it will go to store in hard disk location. Then automatically, if you see here, the WCF service is created with the default folder. We have opcode, app data, service.svc, web config file. In opcode, see here we are using interfaces. Okay, see if you go for web services, then in the web services we don't have concept of interface, but in when coming to WCF we always have an interface. I'll at initial point of view I told to overcome some disadvantage of WCF web services, we introduce a WCF service in 3.0. While they introducing all the methods they are defining in the interface. We have a service contract. Inside the service contract we have a operation contract. Operation contract, after operation contract we have a declaration of method. Interface will allow only declaration of the method, it won't allow any implementation. Why? Because WCF will always exposing method to outside the world, to client. Client can see only the methods, it can't see the how what you are implemented. Okay, because we can say this is also one kind of security. After that we have a data contract. Data contract mainly using to transfer the data by using properties. We have data contract. After that we have a data member. This data contract is mainly using for serialization. By default WCF will support data contract serialization. Okay, what is serialization? Stream of bytes. When data is traveling through network, it always in the form of stream of bytes. Once we define the interface, then we are using the service classes. After that we are inheriting the interface. Here we are defining or implementing actual services. Say I have a get data and data contract. Get data using data contract. These two methods were implemented in the service class. Suppose if not implemented those methods, it will throw error. Okay. After that we have a .svc file. Here we have a service host, language, debug, service name, code behind file. And here we have a config file. Some default configuration things will available in the config file. See here I'm using Windows. Okay, here I'm using C service model. Here endpoint I'm not providing any address. Data binding by default is always support basic HTTP binding. Here contract is iService. Means what and all methods we are defining in the interface. After that here we have some endpoint address MEX metadata exchanging, the MEX HTTP binding, and iMetadata exchanging. This is the default configuration are available in the WCF when we are going to use .NET Framework 3.0. Now just execute this WCF. See, we executed. If you see WSDL, see here what and all methods we are using in WCF. There you see here we are using get data and get data using data contract. Get these two methods we are using in web server in WCF. WSDL nothing but web service description language, and what and all things we are using in the WCF, those details are available in the WSDL. WCL concept is already available in web services. The same concept they replicated in WCF also. Okay. Uh, Thanks for watching. You have any questions? Please post. Thank you. We'll discuss a lot more uh, topics on WCF. Have a nice day. Bye.